What's going on, everybody? It's Ice and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a quick Warzone class setup video. The way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to kind of just give you guys all of the best guns and the things that I use, and you guys can kind of determine, what order you want things in, whether you want to do, close quarters sniper, close quarters AR, whatever it might be. I'll leave all the timestamps and stuff below. So without a doubt, the best gun in Cold War, at least statistically right now, is going to be the CR56 Amax.
Stop shooting at me!
And look at Randy Orton slithering.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
What I use for this is I use the monolithic suppressor Zodiac, tac laser, the optic is the VLK, and the Merc foregrip underbarrel. I do this instead of the commando just because for preference I'd rather control that vertical recoil with the Merc foregrip and just allow this VLK optic to take care of the horizontal that the commando foregrip does. That's, I assume, a sort of glitch, but they've just never fixed it. For some reason this sight gives you a bunch of recoil control. The other ones don't. I use the T-pose reticle with it. Most of the recoil with this gun is actually visual. It's not actual recoil, so just as long as you can kind of maintain it, it's really fast. And if you mount, that visual recoil pretty much disappears, so then it's even more so disgusting. So you've got the range, you've got the suppress, you've got the recoil control, and you can aim down sights a little bit with the tac laser. Another benefit that the tac laser has is the sway of your gun actually continues through you shooting. You don't notice it obviously because you're shooting, but the tac laser helps to limit that sway that happens naturally, so it does affect your recoil as well technically. That one statistically is the best gun in the Warzone. And then next up for close quarters, the gun that I like to have lately is kind of like a close to medium range, is the AS Val. This gun is absolutely disgusting, and it is quite honestly completely broken. The only thing that prevents it from really being nerf worthy is the fact that the biggest round you can have is a 30 round mag. So what I use is a 30 round mag, the Merc foregrip, the VLK 200mm OSA barrel, the tac laser, and then this stock has recoil control, so I also use that one. This gun is gross, and I'm sure I will include a snippet of me destroying somebody with it.
There's that.
Which roof?
Oh, Jesus!
What the fuck, man?
Yeah, personally, despite, all of these guns being statistically better in terms of time to kill, I think my favorite gun in Warzone to use is probably going to be the M4 still. This is just because it has a pretty high rate of fire, meaning if you miss a bullet or two, your time to kill isn't completely destroyed. And it has really controllable recoil once you get used to it. It has really great range properties. What I use for it is the monolithic suppressor, the M16 Grenadier barrel, the tac laser, commando foregrip. I use a 60 round mag. I would use the 50 round mag, but the 60 round mag blueprint that I have is just so cool that I stick with it anyway, and that's honestly my reason. This is the best recoil control setup that you can actually have aside from adding the VLK optic on it. And though technically that makes its recoil better, it just doesn't quite feel right to me. It might just be because the iron sight to me on this gun is so clean. But personally, this is what I find to be the most beamage. Oh, bottom here. He got melted.
Had to get killed.
Moving up there.
One down there too.
Yeah, cancel that.
Okay, got him.
SKF, I see him on there. Oh, yeah. Okay, I see.
Jesus fuck.
Gas is closing in.
We built different. We built
My hand
different.
literally went to my fucking forehead.
So, the next gun that I want to talk about is the FARA 83. This gun is pretty good up close and really good at medium range, and it can kind of make itself work at long range as well.
You're the last one on your team. Finish the job.
That's comedy.
Gas is inbound.
That is comedy.
Oh, I fucking.
A tree.
Oh, I put them up.
So it's a really nice, like, do-it-all sort of weapon, but I actually personally like to pair this with an AR or a sniper. So for this one, I use the GRU suppressor, the Liberator barrel for the bullet velocity, the Spetsnaz grip for the recoil control, the GRU elastic wrap, and the skeletal stock. That way you get the aim down sight speed you need, you get the sprint to fire time, you get the bullet velocity, the suppressed, and the recoil control. I leave the mag off just because personally I don't really need it. You could probably replace, I mean, if you really wanted to commit to using it for close quarters, you could probably replace the Liberator barrel or the Spetsnaz grip with a mag, but personally I find that if I ever need more than 30 bullets with this thing anyway, I can just switch weapons. You're going to have your loadout anyway, so you'll probably be running amped. I think that this might be my favorite gun in Warzone to use right now. This, the AS Val, and the M4 are all kind of tied for me. The sniper that I'm using right now is the Kar 98. So what I use on this one is the regular sniper scope. You could do the variable zoom, but I was, I've been told that the variable zoom ruins it, so I just leave the regular sniper scope on it. I have the aiming stability stock just because I don't want to have the laser on this one because I plan to be aiming down sights a lot. I just don't want it showing to anybody that might be in my area. But I also want the stability. I have the stippled grip tape, the longest barrel we can have, that way we get the most range we can, and then the monolithic suppressor does more range and suppression.
You might be able to do it. Yeah, I do. What's up?
Yeah, there's a dude over here. He's just out in the open.
He's not staying still.
If you want, I'll do it.
Okay.
Oh, he's for real. He's gonna let me do it. Okay.
Straight up.
He jumped.
Oh my!
I just killed him out of the sky. Josh, were you watching that?
Bruh, yes.
When I am using Ghost, the pistol that I actually, like the sidearm that I actually like to use, is probably going to come as a surprise to you. It's the Renetti's and Akimbo, but I don't have the 3-shot barrel on it. And this actually will be one of the fastest time to kills in the entire game, including shotguns, because for some reason it has different damage. Well, I know why, because it's broken with the 3-burst, but without the 3-burst, it has different damage properties, and if you get headshots even a little bit, this thing is going to melt people. So I actually use the apple pie variant, just because I, got to represent for America. You could use a suppressor if you wanted to, but I just stick with the straight up compensator, lightweight trigger, the 5 milliwatt because it is Akimbo. And then you can have whatever round mag. You really don't need this many, but once again, cool blueprint, so I had to. There's no option. And that is what I use. Another thing to kind of reference is that with the, how should I say, versatility nerf to the Bullfrog that just came out today, the Cold War MP5 is, I think, going to take the reins as the best SMG in Cold War, or in Warzone. So what I have on this one is the Agency Suppressor, the Task Force Barrel, the Raider Stock, the Field Agent Grip, and the 50-round drum mag. So you've got all the ammo you need, you got the sprint to fire, you have the recoil control, because you're going to add a little bit with the task force here and the agency suppressor. Something to note about the task force barrel is because all these values initially are so small and it works by percentages. So for example, if the initial range is 10 meters, you get a 50% buff. It's only going to bring it up to like 15. Because those values are so small, it really doesn't give you like a ton of benefit to using any of these. I know there's videos now that are saying like consider using the cavalry lancer just to get vehicle damage. I use C4 to take that out anyway, so I'm just still sticking with the task force barrel. If you struggle with the recoil control on this, I would say to probably switch to the rifled or the ranger barrel, or even the reinforced heavy if you want a little bit of both. But this is my Cold War MP5 setup. So for those that struggle controlling the recoil of the guns that we've talked about so far, I have another one that I've kind of included here. The M13 is a slightly slower time to kill version of the M4, essentially, with a trade-off of recoil control. They have similar properties in terms of range, except really all this one has is just a little bit higher rate of fire and less recoil. So you can be pretty forgiving if you miss a couple shots. So we have the monolithic suppressor, the Tempest Marksman barrel, we have the Commando foregrip, the 60 round mag, and I personally use the hollow sight with the blue dot reticle. You can use really whatever sight you want on this gun. All of them are pretty good, but this is just the one that I prefer. As far as class setup goes, I am on basically all of my classes using either Ghost or Overkill. I don't bother with restock. I use Kill Chain for everything, just because UAVs are pretty much all I'm looking for when I'm playing a Battle Royale. I just want to know where everybody is. So if anything increases the chances of me getting it, the better. The last thing that I have is Amped. I switch guns all the time. I do it for habit, for fun, for running out of ammo, so it's one thing that I find necessary. C4, probably not the best thing to use. You could probably use thermites now. They're probably better for taking out vehicles now, but I'm just so used to using them at this point. Or even just instead of trying to throw them up and at the vehicle, you can even just throw them on the ground and back up and force them to either choose to not try to run you over or to try it and inevitably die. Sometimes they just for some reason don't see it. I don't know if it's like at a certain distance it just like it doesn't register and they don't see it, or if they're just dumb and they just go for it anyway. But all the time, like I'll just throw it on the ground and they'll run straight at me and get blown up. I use the heartbeat sensor because like I said, I like to know where people are at all the time. And then referencing back to the CR56 and the FARA 83, so there were nerfs that happened actually today, like 7 minutes ago. I got the notification for the update or whatever. Most things are unchanged. So all the stocks on the Cold War weapons now have like slower strafing speeds. So it's not going to be something that's too punishing, but it might be something you do notice. They reduced the headshot damage on a lot of these guns, and they reduced the damage by 1 point on, I believe, both the FAR 83 and the CR56. In most cases, you're not going to notice it. You might notice things at range with the Amax, but that's fine because it's honestly probably pretty OP at range right now, if you can control that recoil especially. So the other thing that got reworked was the Bullfrog. They pretty much just completely changed what the Bullfrog was. It's no longer super versatile. They decreased a lot of the stats, and it honestly behaves like a completely different gun now. It's not bad, but it just is no longer quite as good as, the PPSH, the MP5, or the Mac. The only one that I really talked about in this video was going to be the MP5 just because that's the best one. The PPSH, I don't have all the attachments even unlocked for because I personally don't have a good time using it. As for my favorite loadout lately, I'm pretty much going back and forth between the AS-Val and the M4 and the CR56 and the FAR 83, and I'm sure I'll have a couple highlights from games that I've played with these guns in the video. But that's going to be pretty much all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to comment and tell me what you use down below, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.